Auburn Junior High School is a school with a rich history, intriguing stories, interesting teachers, and a long line of students. Auburn Junior High School wasn't always a junior high school. It used to be the only school in Lee County. Over the years, a single building has grown and multiplied into a bigger campus with a student population of over 1,000 students and a faculty numbering over 80. Not only has the junior high grown in its size and population, but it has continually grown in its teaching, classes offered, and technology. For the past 6 years, laptops have been offered to each student to help complete his or her work and to help prepare students for the computer age. It is amazing to see just how much technology has improved over the past couple of decades and how these advances have been implemented at Auburn Junior High School today. It is not just these advances that make the junior high school so special, but the rich past that is filled with interesting stories and intriguing people. Tim McDonough, a former administrator, Drew Morgan, a current history teacher and football coach, and math teachers Cheryl Ross and Anna Wright are a few of the people who have enriched and impacted lives of students at Auburn Junior High School.
I'm Tim McDonough. I was at Auburn Junior High School from 1983 to 2003 as assistant principal. So I was there 19 full years, and one of those years I was half-time between the high school and the junior high.
My name is Drew Morgan. I teach 9th grade world history at Auburn Junior High School, and this is my 4th year teaching. I graduated from Auburn University in 2009 and interned here and got a job after my internship here, and so I've been here ever since then.
Well, I'm Anna Wright, and I teach math here at the junior high, and I have been in Auburn City Schools for 31 years. And of those, let's see if I can subtract right, 27 of those have been at the junior high. I went to Drake for 4 years, but I was very lucky. I came back to the junior high and got this same room again.
I'm Miss Ross, Cheryl Ross, and I have been at Auburn since 1983. And I came, and Anna had been here 1 year. And I'm coming from high school to 8th grade, which was a transition. So I have been here this is going on year 30. And I begged Anna to stay one more year. I said, you can't leave me by myself, because I am the oldest teacher on campus.
And so. I'm not.
Yes, I will admit. I will admit I'm the oldest teacher, and so so she graciously decided to, and I'm trying to get her to, well, maybe don't you want to, because that's okay. But I came from San Antonio, Texas. I did experience in Wichita Falls, and I taught in Turkey, North Dakota, and finally back here in Auburn. So this is home. So I've made myself a nice home here.
Each person who goes through Auburn Junior High School has his or her own stories and experiences. The teachers and staff here are no exception. They have to expect and conquer the unexpected in their everyday endeavors. Let us look back into the past of Auburn Junior High School as these previous and current faculty members tell us some of the many stories that have occurred during their time working here.
The unique thing about the junior high was our heating system was a boiler system. And when the boiler system was being made, unfortunately, the man that was making the boiler system in Montgomery and knew how to do it passed away. And so they had to find somebody else to figure out how to finish the boiler system. And the boiler system was never right, even when they put it in there. The valves would stick, and smoke would fill up, and we'd have to evacuate the building. And for no other reason than nobody else was dumb enough to do it, I used to run into the boiler room. I'd have to hold my breath, run in the boiler room with the steam all over the place, and find the valve to turn the steam off so that it would settle down and we could go back to class. And that would happen routinely during the cold winter months. And it got to where I actually had to go into where the boiler room was, and I would pace, how many steps, which direction, and how many before I would turn to know where to go, because you couldn't see a thing in there when that boiler would back up and the steam would fill up, and we'd have to evacuate the school until we got it shut off.
And I guess go back to the very beginning when I came to Auburn Junior High. I was late the very first day of institute. And I thought, and I'm not a late person. That's why I get here at 6:30, so I've never been late since. But the very first day of school, there were some men here who had terrible senses of humor. And, being a new teacher, you didn't know that. So the very first day, Larry Norris, who taught science, went to the bathroom in the 300 building, the faculty bathroom, and that is a famous bathroom. Everybody knows it's pretty bad. So Larry goes in the bathroom. Another teacher named David Blake came with a rope and tied the bathroom door to the door across the hall so Larry couldn't get out. So it took me probably a good half a year before I would go to that bathroom because I was so afraid of what might happen if I got in there, because this is like bells ringing and you could still hear that door trying to get open because Larry was stuck in there. So that was probably day one of my introduction to Auburn Junior High, and I was like, oh my goodness.
When I left Auburn High School and went to the junior high, to be honest with you, I was shocked at the conditions. Auburn Junior High was like a second-class citizen in the school system. The furniture and desk and things. And part of that was funny. We had a lot of hand-me-down things from the high school. They would buy furniture for the high school, and then we'd get the high school leftovers. They'd kick it down to us. And it was a number of years before we were able to actually get our own furniture. There was no air conditioning at Auburn Junior High in 1984 when I went there, 83. The only air conditioning rooms were the offices. So all the classrooms, the cafeteria was hot. It was just horrendous to sit in that cafeteria and eat and have sweat dripping off of you and your food and everything. It was funny, but it was also sad that things were like that.
My first year teaching, I think I was given a test. This was very serious, very quiet, very calm, and we were taking the test, and all of a sudden, this girl just starts just freaking out, just going crazy. And it's quiet, so it startles everybody, and we look up, and there's a wasp flying around the room. Well, at this point as a teacher, I'm trying to protect the integrity of the test. It needs to be very quiet. Everybody needs to have the same shot, the same chance. And all that goes out the window with this wasp flying around the room. And so it took us about 10 minutes to be able to get to the wasp because it was up on the roof. And finally when we did, order was restored. And we did finish the test. But to make a long story short, as a teacher, you never know what to expect. You walk into the room and you have 70 students, 70 people, 70 human beings you're around every day, and you never know what to expect, even if it's wasps coming into your room messing up your test.
We had numerous encounters with animals. It took several months to trap a family of cats that were up under the auditorium. The kids loved them, but the cats were wild. They were dangerous. The mother cat was like a caged tiger. We had the animal control from Auburn City Public Service set traps, and when they finally caught the mama cat, they were scared of it. The thing was in a cage, and that cat was just like a caged tiger, scared to death and roaring and swatting and trying to get to anybody. They actually had to get a stick to pick the cage up. They couldn't put their hand on it and pick it up and walk off with it. They had to run a stick through the handle and get on each side and walk because that mama cat was going so crazy. And they'd lived there. It had been generations of them apparently living under that auditorium up underneath for years. We had a visitor in the auditorium and couldn't figure out what it was for a number of nights. Mrs. Smith, the choral director, and she was off trying to find help to find out what it was, and we set a trap and caught a big old possum in the auditorium. one morning we came in. There he was, a big, gigantic thing, and had to take him out and get rid of him humanely. We didn't kill him. We took him off, and they took him out in the woods and let him go.
A funny thing happened to me in my class, and I was upstairs. I think I've been in every quadrant of this building except the new ones. I haven't been in the 7,000. I was teaching, and of course, to get them quiet, I said, shh, shh. And my front tooth, which is the crown, came off. And it dropped off. But nobody said anything because I guess the kids were running their mouths and everything. And so immediately I picked it up and I went outside the door, popped it back in. And I was just laughing. And the kids looked out the door. What are you laughing about, Miss Ross? And so I got my composure and came back in. I said, did you all see what happened to me? And the kid that's sitting closest, all I saw was some gum come out of your mouth. And I said, gum, and I just fell laughing out. And I should have stopped there. But then I told him, my tooth fell out. And everybody cracked up. And the rest of the school knew that my tooth flew across the room. And it got really expanded by the end of the day. Oh, your whole teeth. All your teeth fell out. I said, oh. So that was, I had to live with that the rest of the year, that my teeth were falling out in the classroom.
Something unusual about the junior high was dealing with the custodians. We always had reports of some of them thought the place was haunted in that big old building, and I can testify because I would go up and work on nights or on the weekends and bring my children with me. And there would be times where we would hear people walking upstairs or running upstairs. And we would go busting out of the office trying to get to where they might be, and there'd be nobody there. And this would be in the daytime. The custodians would always report things routinely about the noises they would hear and wanted to know if anybody was up there on that night doing anything. It's just a spooky building sometimes when there's nobody there but you. With my kids, we even had plans where one of them would run outside to the fire escape in the back, the other one would stand at the bottom of the stairs in the main building, and I'd run upstairs to try to catch whoever was up there. Because every time we went, there was always these noises that we would hear, and they're just exactly like somebody walking or running upstairs. And we never found anybody. The custodians never found anybody. And I don't know, I haven't been there since 2003, so I don't know what they hear now. I would imagine they may hear some of the same things if you talk to them.
David Blake
Yes, I remember David.
Crazy. He, one day, and this sounds terrible, the principal was gone, and he taught science, and so he had his science goggles on and his white lab coat, and he's walking around with this baking pan with a leg of lamb in it, and he's going to your room going, need a leg of lamb? And of course the kids don't know what to think. I know he walked to my room one day with a paper bag going, this needs to be, and I was going to get away because the bag was shaking. I didn't know what kind of a creature was in it, and of course the kids were looking at him because I'm going, get out of my room, get out of my room. And so, yeah, there were some crazy people who worked here with us.
We had another incident with a student. We had our attendance and social services director come down, and she brought medicine to a student from the parent. Went and got it, brought it to school. The student came to the office, and our social services lady told the student, gave him a paper cup and told him to go fill this up. You got to take your medicine. So the student went away and took a long time. And I was coming out of my office, and the student was coming into the main office of the building up there, and Mrs. Smith was standing there. And here comes the student with the cup, like this. And Mrs. Smith said, well, here's your pill, and then realized the boy had gone in the bathroom and filled the cup up with urine. He'd been used to drug tests. And when she said, go fill the cup up, he went in there and filled the cup up with urine. We brought it back as a specimen. And the point was, you get water and take your pill. absolutely hilarious when it happened. Something you can't laugh at in front of with the kid, but you're just busting a gut over the circumstances of this. And the kid meant no harm, thought he was doing what he was supposed to be doing, but he was so far off base, it was unreal, absolutely unreal. There was an episode at the junior high at one time where these girls were getting threatening notes in their lockers. They were getting notes harassing them and threatening them physically and verbally in their lockers. People would drop notes inside their lockers. And we couldn't catch who was doing it. And the parents became so irate, they went to the superintendent. The superintendent ended up going to the police chief. We had a conference with the police chief and the superintendent about what could be done. The police had their drug detail come in and put a small camera in the hallway that's probably no bigger than my fingers that they used on drug surveillance. I met the police up there at 11:30 at night one night so they could actually put it in the ceiling in the hallway and put the monitors in the office where nobody would know they were there except for 2 or 3 people, and started filming day after day after day. And we finally caught who was putting the notes in the lockers. It was the very girls whose lockers the notes were being dropped in. They were doing it to themselves so they could actually get their mom and daddy to come up and check them out and take them home so they didn't have to be in school. And this was not 1 or 2 girls. This was 3, 4, 5, 6 girls. And the sad part about it is most of the parents, when we showed them the video of who was putting the notes in, most of them were shocked. But I was shocked at how many were non-apologetic to us after that. But it was the very girls terrorizing themselves on purpose.
Some of the things that I've brought or I've been allowed to bring into Auburn Junior High School is I've had the honor of working with the Hal Moore Leadership Academy this year. Bo Morrissey was working on it a couple years before me, and I took over this year, and it's been a wonderful opportunity. Miss Elizabeth Lundy, Miss Karen Fuller helped me with it, and we've kind of gotten us off to a slow start. But the academy is all about developing leaders, and it's not necessarily a honor society. It's not necessarily a reward. It's not necessarily recognizing students who already do good or are leaders, but it's all about developing those students who haven't yet realized their leadership potential. And so I really think it gives kids that maybe could be leaders and could be top of their class that little extra push, and that little extra incentive, and a little extra know-how to get to that level. Something else that we're actually starting this year, and I can't take the credit for it, I'm just a sponsor, but a few 8th grade students came to me with an idea to start a competitive bass fishing club, and I was a little skeptical at first, but I started looking at the association. Alabama has an association for competitive bass fishing, and many schools around the state have clubs, including Hoover, Spain Park, Smith Station, Beulah, close to here. And so there will be 4 qualifying tournaments and then a state championship tournament in the summer. And it gives kids the opportunity to fish competitively against other high schools around the state. And there, like I said, there's a state championship. And so we're really excited about that. Like I said, it wasn't my idea. I'm privileged and honored to get to be the sponsor. I'm really looking forward to it. We have several kids in high school and several students at the junior high who are in that club. So we're hoping to do well in the tournaments and get the club off and going.
And I think Cheryl will say the same thing. This is like your home away from home.
Right.
I mean, I get here at about 6:45 and I stay till 4:30 or 5 o'clock. Except for a small handful, this is where all my friends are. All 3 of my children came through the junior high. This has just been a big part of my life. So I think sometimes, like Cheryl, sometimes she talked me into staying, it wasn't a real hard talk, because sometimes when I think about it, I think, what will I do with myself when I leave the junior high? Because this is where, I mean, I've been coming here for 31 years, just about every day.
Yeah. But seeing, this has been, this is my home. And she leaves at 4:30, where I'm here with the janitors at nighttime. So I'm faced with the same. I mean, this has just been my home, my classroom. And I look around, and when I think about retiring, it's sort of scary, because I said, that's the only place my car knows to drive is from home to the Auburn Junior High School. So, but I'm really ready to move on.
These faculty members have had a great impact on the advancement and growth of the junior high, and they are or will be greatly missed when they decide to leave. Auburn Junior High School is a school that has a long and rich past, and we are hopeful for a bright future. The people who have walked through this school have made it great, and the past of Auburn Junior High School should never be forgotten.